That's why. Aha, I got pictures. Okay, so the picture seems. Why is so weird? Am I supposed to read this over? I was trying to do minimalistics that way, like I wouldn't have the computer crash after the first like 30 minutes or something. I'm already actually late. Damn it. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and today I'm live. How fun is that? So, yeah, this is something different. Hang on, let me see if I can get rid of the name thing. There we go. Cool. So, if you've been following me over on Instagram or my Patreon viewers, you know I've been working on a huge project, and here, it kind of goes way off screen here. There's quite a bit done already. And I have it clipped up here on my board. And I figured I could talk a little bit about what goes into this and then answer questions and talk a little bit about some other stuff that's, So, yeah, I've got my wife in here with me, and she is helping out with comments and making sure that I can see that, because as it stands right now, I have cameras in front of my face and I can barely even see um, I can barely see anything on my computer. So, um, if you're thinking about doing a big project, if this is all inspiring, just know that even if you only do a little bit every day, it'll eventually get done. It's not that difficult to say. Like, this right here is easily the width of a good pillow that you might have on your couch. So that's a potential thing. Um, and I can give you some tips. So I have right now, there's two clips that hold this board onto my easel, and I have three clips going across the top. Let me see if I can kind of show you. Move the camera around. So there's a clip there and a clip over here, and then I have some clips going across the top up here. The clips at the top are really what I'm trying to do, is trying to keep it where I have this line as straight as possible. And by having that line as straight as possible, it's going to affect how the rest of this goes. If you let it sag a little bit at the beginning, you will notice it will play with your pattern later on. Now, this is true even if you're doing, like, say, a double wide bracelet or something smaller. If you start out really good and strong, it will stay with the rest of the project. The next thing I would do on something like this is I would like I can only work on a segment at a time, just wherever that is. And um, so in this instance, right, I can only work here. So if I take all this string that what I can't do yet, and I kind of wrap it around that. Let's see if I can show this. See that clip over on the side? That keeps all that string out of my way, and I can concentrate on just what I'm working on. So that's kind of right. And then I can't really use any of this right away. So I'll toss this to the side, and boom. So now I'm only concentrating on this small amount of string, which is, way more digestible, right? This is like a regular bracelet amount. And as long as I just kind of concentrate on that instead of all of it, I'm not having to worry about getting my strings all knotted together, or in a bunch. Like I always tell you, don't get your strings in a bunch. Hang on, I got comments. Let me take a look here. Consonant, on duty on campus. Ah, Well, thanks for joining. You guys are awesome. Um, so this project, back to this. Sorry, just having fun here. Um, there are 6 different of these, the ones that are primarily blue and orange, and then there's 6 of their counterparts that kind of follow in behind. So there's basically it's like 12 tiles. Um, I think I mentioned this before, but this was inspired by like a Turkish mosque originally, like when I first tried playing with patterns that kind of tiled out like this. So in my mind, this is like a tile, each one of the squares, and then the light blue would be like I guess they call it mortar, or no, what? Oh, grout, the grout that goes in between the tiles, right? So that's kind of a thing. Um, and as long as I'm making progress, like doing a tile or doing 5 a day or whatever it is, I will eventually have the whole thing finished, right? And that's the same with any kind of project guys want to do. One of the problems, and I've seen this numerous times over on the friendship bracelet page over on Facebook. People are getting like they start a project and then they kind of get tired of it or bored of it and they have to like start something else. Um, Totally relatable. Totally 100% relatable. I have ADHD, and there's a whole thing about getting started on a project and being excited about it and then getting partway through and you start to realize it's a whole lot of work and you get discouraged and then you get excited about a new project. So I have a solution for this. If you find yourself in that kind of a situation, perhaps maybe you have ADHD, maybe you don't, um, try to be excited about any progress you're making. It's a little way of tricking your brain to give you the dopamine for what you're actually working on here, right? Because this project here is likely going to take me a really, really long time. And I'm okay with that. I kind of get it. Um, I might get bored at some point. But if I keep telling myself, look at the progress, look how far I've gotten. Today I managed 5 boxes. Even if that's half of what I did yesterday, I can still relish the notion that there was an accomplishment made. And with something like this, one of the hard parts is not wanting to make any mistakes. And that's true with anything, even the smaller bracelets. We get down on ourselves if we make a little mistake, but it's string and we can untie the knots if we have to, or we can overlook it and move on if we have to. It doesn't make that big of a dent in our lives overall. It's just a thing that we're going through at this moment. So, kind of don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff, right? Okay. Before I get any further, I need to remind you guys there is a sale over on all my stuff over at akaawol.com. Um, if you saw something in Instagram that isn't in the shop and you're interested in it, I will I can put it together or put it on there or whatever for you, and you'd still get the discount. So you'll save me the trouble of actually having to worry about photographing it and getting it marked up online. So there are some bracelets still laying around here. Probably, if I'm guessing, probably 2 dozen. So if you're interested in any of the new stuff, let me know. I'll work that out with you. Um, but yeah, head over to akaawol.com/shop and take a look. It's the deepest discount I've ever done on my shop. So now's a good time. If you wanted to also help support my channel, Patreon, go over there. I have a few Patreon supporters who are absolutely the best. They've been getting more updates on pictures of all of this. Um, so they're way ahead of the game from, you know, every like the general public, because I publish there most every day. It might slow down a little bit because this is so redundant. Hang on, let me see what the comment is. My wife's waving her hands over here at me. This project using longer strings and always for bracelets. No, I'm using the same 1/3 of a skein. So I have a video, if you look through my videos, on how to cut strings into 1/3. And so that's the length. And I will have to add string later on. So at some point or another, I'm not sure if I'm kind of halfway tempted in doing like live videos like this each week until this thing is finished. I don't know. It depends on, like, if people come up with questions for a bracelet and I have like a good answers and can do videos on it, then I'll do regular videos. But if there's not much going on, this is kind of be my primary focus. And at some point, I would be adding string to this, and that will definitely be part of the video. I do have a video in there somewhere, though, where I was adding the string. But yeah, this one, the light blue, if we look at this off to the side here, is already getting kind of short. That's not totally like at the end of its thing or whatever, but yeah, it gets used more than anything else. And yeah, it's already short, and I'm already getting worried about like how many skeins I bought. Did I buy enough to actually make up for the fact that I'm going to have to change that one even more? But worst case scenario, I know what the number is. I can order more. My supplier out of China is real good about that. And it doesn't take too terribly long to get my string here. So I'm not going to sweat it. And the cool thing about a huge project like this that has so few number of colors is the fact that um, when I ordered the string, it all came in bundles of each color. So yeah, that made you know, kind of going through the whole thing a whole lot easier this time. Really pleased with that. Oh, I set this over here. So I just got my fourth one. I can't, oh, I can do it off the other screen. So it's a piece of wood, right? And then if we look closer here, these things flip down, right? This thing has, like, you put a little screw here and then one at this end and screw this right into your wall. And when you're not in use, it goes really nice and flat and looks a little bit artsy. And when you pull these things down, it's a place to keep all your cut string, which is perfect. Off to the side here is what's left of the first 20 skeins I cut of each of the colors. Well, 20 for like the light blue, the yellow, the red, and the white. The orange and the dark blue, there's twice as many of those, so I cut twice as many. So there's 40 skeins of those cut. But I don't know how much is left. But what I did was I have them on the hook, so when it's time, when I want to add more over here, let's see, when I add more over here, I can just go over to where all the string is already cut. It saves, I'm not sure if it saves a lot of time. I know that it's a lot easier to spend a couple hours focused on just cutting string than to start to add it and then have to cut the string and then add a piece. And it's just way more convenient this way. Plus it keeps it up out of the way. It keeps it from, getting, I wouldn't want to, on a project like this where I'm going to be going through so much string, to put it on the little bobbins, right? The little things that you wind the string around. That would be ludicrous. There would be so much work in that. And then every time you needed the strings, unwind it. Yeah, not for something like this. I do that for a lot of like future bracelets and stuff, that way it's kind of like ready when I want it. But Not a project like this. There's way too much string involved. So, and I don't know if you can tell this. I'm trying to make sure that I get my lines nice and even. It's not going to be perfect. This is obviously handmade work and stuff, but I'm trying to at least give it an effort to have it look really nice. I mean, this is going to be a wall hanging. It's going to be almost I don't think it's quite a meter and a half wide, which I don't know what that is in the American standard stuff. It's more than a yard. I'm not sure if it's a yard and a third or a yard and a half, but it's going to be pretty wide. And then I have to kind of figure out like how long to make it. I'm thinking that it'll be somewhere between half a meter and 60 centimeters, which is like 10 cm longer, which is like that. So yeah, just kind of playing it by feel. And one of my Patreon supporters had given me that idea that I should do the width first and then kind of figure it out from there, figure out how long it should be, um, based on, the overall creation. And I guess it kind of really made sense to me because I do that with my handbags, right? I look at it and I have an idea in my mind what kind of shape it'll be, and then I just go as long as necessary to make that happen. So that's kind of cool. I like that a lot. Any more questions? So here's the light blue again, kind of boxing it in. And I can kind of see that this square is a little bent out of shape, but it's not too bad. Mind you, like so I mentioned that I have ADHD. Mind you, on the days where I get hyper focused, um, yeah, I can do this stuff and I can forget all about eating meals or anything. It just suddenly becomes like my fixation. And yeah, it's how a lot of this got done was just you know, occasionally I just go through these phases where it's all I can do. Mind you, I do have to other days where I can barely do anything. So yeah, it's comes and goes. Wow. So a bunch of you still out there watching. Thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying this. If you have questions, holler. It'd be fun. It can be anything silly, like, I don't care. Not sure. Can you guys see Mr. Reddington? He's over here. He's watching. Yeah, he's got a spot here in the office where he can see me doing the stuff. It's kind of neat. Okay, so once I finish this square, these strings here won't get used until I'm starting onto this row over here, right? So take them and put them off to the side. Managed to mess with my mic while I was at that, sorry. Um, and then I pick up for the next segment. And that's how I keep from having to have a whole big mess. It's really easy to kind of just divide these apart, especially since like this group here is all just kind of hanging down and then goes around a clip. Well, here I can show you that. So it's just going around this clip over here to kind of hold them off to the side. And there. And I'm getting a warning from YouTube saying that there's something about the streaming. I'm hardwired to the internet. Okay, it's saying that you guys might be experiencing buffering issues, and I don't know why. See, this was part of the whole why I wanted to get this like started without any kind of web pages open or anything, because I never know if it's my computer or if it's the internet that's causing trouble. Does it look okay on your side? Okay, the wife says it's still working. I don't know. Hopefully, hopefully you guys aren't having difficulty. It should be like high res. Maybe that it shouldn't be the problem, right? Uh, so okay, now it's the next square. Let's see. Mind you, what you can't see is off screen, I do have a monitor with the image of the 6 squares and then the 6 squares that go underneath. So I haven't quite got this down to where I have it all memorized yet. I mean, I can look though. I mean, the pattern does repeat. So. Oh. So that straight start. Yeah. Okay. Um, First off, you want to clip it really, really well, right? So there's a black string that goes underneath all of that stuff. Um, and I don't know why I picked black. It was just there. Um, and yeah, I was thinking I should probably do this on a video of itself. Let's see. So there's the string I'm attaching everything to. And how I was doing it was I was taking the center of a single strand, putting it underneath, and then pulling the string up through it. And that's how I got it all on here. Keeping this as tight as possible makes all the difference in the world. Also, you have to constantly be making little micro adjustments. What I mean by that is if it starts to lean or starts to do something, you might need to put a clip partway into it to get it to hold it straight to try to get this to come in as square as possible. And you want to squeeze the strings together as tightly as possible so that because if they too far spread out, then this diamond won't actually be much of a diamond. It'll just be like a little lump or something. So that's kind of, mind you, if I was going to do like so this is meant to be a wall hanging inside of like a picture frame. Like there's going to be pieces of glass with the little hook things or whatever that hooks the glass to the board that's in behind it. So that's why it's a flat, straight start. If I was going to do this a different way, what I might do is every so often have a loop because, and okay, so let's just talk about this way for a second first. Why I didn't do this off of a piece of wood like I see everybody else doing is because at some point in time, I know that it's going to get dirty. I know that it's going to need to be washed. And this is more durable than like the heavier canvas cottons and stuff that you could buy, right? So being able to put it into a washing machine should be no problem at all. I mean, this is a bracelet I've worn for almost 2 years that was made out of regular thread that was twisted together to make it thicker and then made into a bracelet. And it finally got to the point where the sides were getting so torn up that I decided I would put it on the shelf and save it for later because I really like it. But it goes to show, I mean, I wore this in the shower. I wore this while out biking, skateboarding, just every day for years, and it held up. your work should be able to hold up like that as well. And when people put the piece of wood in there, they've essentially made it impossible to be able to wash it in a washing machine. And there's a couple in that come to mind where it would break my heart. The one in particular that really comes to mind was somebody that I follow had made a photograph. They put it through one of the cross stitch things, made a photograph, and it was like her and her friends or something. And it's on a wooden dowel, and it's gorgeous. It's, I'm sure she's going to want to show that off for life. But if it gets dirty from being on the wall for too long, she's going to have a real problem trying to get it cleaned. And it didn't have to be that way. So alternatively, let's say we want to do this, but we want to make it so that way it can be on a stick. If periodically I made a loop on this like it was a bracelet, and then took the last string and ran it sideways and made it come to a point, like say where the two diamonds come together, then those two pieces of string actually tie together and become a thing, I could have a series of loops going across the top. And depending on how far I want to have those spaced out is completely to taste. But then you could put a dowel through those loops, just like imagine how you would put a dowel through a bracelet loop, right? And you would be able to take it off the dowel, run it through the washing machine, and hang it back up. And so much easier, so much less drama and problems. I mean, I suppose that's what dry cleaners and stuff are for. Still, this stuff is super, super durable. It doesn't need to be like that. And I would love to see you guys go ahead and try it, tag me and I'll show examples. I don't do a whole lot of wall hangings. I don't imagine having a whole lot. Mind you, I do imagine. So something about this size and then square, I think I would want to do as a pillow to go on the same wall where this wall hanging will hang. I want to make pillows. And unfortunately, I don't think there'll be videos on the pillow portion of it because I'll probably hire like a seamstress to actually do the sew the backing onto it. So I'll create the big chunk of fabric, go to the store, buy whatever kind of fabric will be the back of it, and the zipper that will open it up so that way you can stuff something inside, and just give it to a professional. Because when it comes to trying to sew in a zipper, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but I am far from a professional with that. So I think something that big and that special, I think it's okay to know your limits and say, you know what, let a professional do it. Way cooler. So hopefully that answered the question. I don't know. I get so scatterbrained. It's like we started with a topic of how to do the straights and somehow we're off on pillows. I don't know how I get from point A to Z so quickly, but so this is pretty neat. How I did the pattern for this was I made sure that everything in this row always had to start from the same, and everything in this row always has to start from the same. So all the colors have to go back kind of the way that they were. And then I tried seeing what I could do with in that square. And all six of this row here, which is also just like these, are starting out with the same colors in the same position and just done differently. And then the same goes with the second row. It's kind of exciting. It was a challenge, and putting this together has become a real challenge. Mind you, I could have gone for the safer route. I could have gone with a pattern I know well, and it would be a whole lot faster. But this is going to be in my home for me and my wife to appreciate. And part of me just really thought, would I be happy with anything less than what really challenges me? And so the answer to that was no, I would not be happy. If I took a easy route, I would definitely, you know, whatever. And I can make, the easier patterns. In fact, one of the ones I want to do, um, what is it when you have it, it goes almost to the edge, shorter, shorter, shorter. Um, I think it looks like a peacock. Um, I know you guys have a name for it. I don't know what it is. In the single, it looks kind of like a Jesus fish, the way the tail comes in and then comes out and down. But they kind of look like peacock feathers. Anyways, I want to do a pillow out of that. It's one of the easiest patterns there is. If you guys know the name, hit me in the comments. I can't think of what it. I know that somebody else has like a standardized name for those. I don't know if you can see. I'm like looking over at the screen. Like, is there a comment? Is there a comment? Grabbing a piece of paper. What is the pattern called when it looks like this? And it's sort of like chevrons, and they just get smaller and smaller. And then this one sort of closes in, and then it sort of does the same thing over here. Geyser? I'm not sure that's it. I'm probably going to wake up at like 4 in the morning and be like, oh, I know what it is. That's so typically me. I hate that. Uh, but yeah, I definitely plan on doing pillows in some of the easier ones because if you make an easy pattern repeat enough, it starts to look very complex. And I definitely like that kind of look. And having a bunch of throw pillows in the house is way fun. Mind you, growing up, we had those. Well, they weren't made out of this, but we had pillows that were like that. It was my mom and my sister used to do something called Bargello, which, if you don't know what that is, you should Google it, but don't ask me how to spell it. Um, Mandy, could you type in Bargello so that way anybody wants to Google it can? You you don't know how to spell it either? Okay, double check for sure. Um, Bargello is very mathematical and very beautiful, and it's needlepoint. So um, I definitely had, a lot of like inspiration growing up for patterns and things like that. I even kind of played around with it for a little bit. My sister had started something and got bored of it, so I finished it for her. And it turned out pretty awesome. That my mom turned that into a pillow for me. So yeah, I've been creative for a really, really long time. And when I discovered knots, this was like the perfect fit. I really enjoy seeing, my work come to life. So hopefully, I don't know how the live chats work as far as the video goes on later on. Hopefully, anybody who's watching this later on can find like where it says Bargello and stuff. I have no idea if that's even a thing or not. But I'm very fortunate to have my wife. She's a very busy lady, and I'm sure she could probably be doing a lot of her regular work right now, but she's in here helping me with little things like that. So here's something. So I've made almost these two squares right here, right? I can make a choice at this point. I can either do the two squares over here, or I can continue down in this row. And for the life of me, I've been trying to figure out which is the most effective means of doing this. And I basically come to the conclusion that there is no difference. Doesn't matter which way I do it. Getting a square accomplished is getting a square accomplished. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Um, Progress is progress. And I think there's something comforting in that when you realize that as long as you make an effort, you'll get there. So that's what's been keeping me going here lately. Hopefully that helps you guys. Geyser. I wonder if that is what it's called. Sad thing is it's such an easy pattern. I probably haven't done it in so long. I don't know where I'd find one. All right. So hopefully you guys get more than just how to make big projects from my channel. I recently saw a comment. Somebody was asking a question about how to make a bag strapper of some sort. And somebody described my YouTube channel as being about making bags. And I thought, what? No, that's not what I've ever intended to do. And I know that I get that when it comes to making bags, I've made an awful lot, and that, I'm not sure if I made more than anybody else, but I know I made an awful lot. But I wanted it to be about my experience and sharing my experience. So whether it's making a small bracelet or making something huge, that it helps everybody. And I would like to think that that's what my channel really is about, because it's not just about making things huge. I don't think I don't think there'd be that many people really interested in it. Well, maybe, I don't know. It is what it is, but let's see if we can back this camera out a bit. There. How's that? But no, I want to be able to help anybody who's just getting started in making stuff. If you're making just a candy stripe, some of the same things apply. If you start out nice and strong, it goes easier. If you make adjustments as you're going, it'll make it straighter. If you keep clips close to where you're working, it will make it so that way it doesn't roll up as much. That's totally what makes a candy stripe do that weird roll, is if you put the clip going across diagonally with the candy stripe, it won't do that. It's the fact that the bottom part lifts up while you're making it. So things like that. I want to be able to help with all the stuff, not just the big things. Mind you, the big things do seem to be a little bit more rewarding, I think. Like at the end of the day, when I finish something huge, I'm like elated. Doesn't last long, but I am elated. It's part of the whole ADHD thing. Like my brain will only give me so much dopamine for an accomplishment. So you big accomplishment, you get a little, just enough to be like, woohoo, and it's over. So that's what drives me to have to do another one, and make more, tie. Well, that and I have this strange thing like if I don't accomplish a lot, then I feel like I don't have value or something. I mean, I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just a sense of my worth is based on whether or not I have accomplishments. So it's probably not the healthiest, but it's kind of what pushes me to keep going and going and going. So yeah, there'll come a point here for a little bit past where I'm at. Oh, mind you, the length, let's kind of see, can we do this? So this length was kind of chosen both because of how the string it hasn't run out by that point, but it's anything that's down on this side, the string is not touching the floor. That was it. That was the executive decision was as long as it's not on the floor, it's not collecting dust and hair or whatever. So yeah, that's you can totally choose your own reason for why. But that was why this was the way it is. So I don't know if that's helpful, but if you're starting out and you're trying to figure out why I do things, well, there you go. So says there's 5 of you guys watching. I guess that means 1 for my wife and 4 more. So of you 4 other people, say hi, ask questions, have fun. Oh, how many so far? How many are in one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 per square, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 times 16? Okay, Google. What's 15 times 16?
The answer is 240.
240 strings so far. No, there is totally a sequence. So there's no how do I put this? Okay, so this one here, this is on my piece of paper that I created. Oh, hang on. So I have this. Okay, so this is my little laminate. This one here is the same as this one here. So for me, I'm calling that one number 6. So that makes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 will go over here. So number 6 always has this one next coming down from it. And that means number 5 will always have this one coming down from it in this way. Now, wait, let's see if we can show more of the, okay. So in this row here, right, here's number 6, and we come down and one, like this is the same row that would be, and here's number 6 again. And it's because I made it so this goes and then it's offset a little bit. So let's see, from number 6 to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So underneath 6 is 2, and then underneath that is 4, and then 6 comes again. So they're all offset by just a little bit, which has created some interesting how the pattern overlaps with itself. Like, so let's see. Can you see this one? Yeah, number 6 here and number 6 here. But the 6s will be in a straight row this way, but in a sort of over by 1 this way, which it's fascinating. I didn't think it through 100%, but I kind of knew that I kind of wanted there to be some subtleties, and I want it to repeat itself enough that if you're sitting there drinking your coffee and you're staring at it, that you kind of get a sense that there's something happening with it. Yes, you could totally make a checkerboard out of something like this. You could totally, because these two different sets are completely different, right? So you could, when the colors come in up here, right? The top, there's the top 3 colors here, then the white, and then the bottom 3 colors. If you did the top 3 colors to be like super dark and the bottom 3 colors to be super light, you would totally get a checkerboard. And yes, 100% that would work. Oh, so yeah, was Pamela? Pamela, yes, I plan on making, I can actually ask Google. Wait, Pamela, are you um, metric or American? Or it's the others? The standard. Are you, because I can answer, I can ask Google what the metric conversion would be. Turoff? Pamela Turoff. I want to answer your question. It's going to be about my plan is to go about 1.5 meters wide. There's a in our living room there's a really wide mirror, and it's really pretty big. And I looked at that and I was like, you know what would be better than having a big old mirror in here? Having a big old bracelet thing. So let's figure this out. Okay, Google, what's 1.5 meters in standard?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
Okay, Google, what's 1.5 meters in feet?
1.005 meters is equivalent to 3 feet, 3.567 inches.
3 foot, what? 3.5 feet or something? So yeah, it's going to be massive. It's huge. And long, it's going to be 0.5 meter or 1.5 feet, 2 foot long, give or take. I have no idea how long this thing will take me. I imagined when I first started it that it would take me a couple months, but since I've been working on it, I've come to realize that that's probably um, a pretty retarded estimation. I think it's going to take way longer. Yeah, I'm so okay. So the frame rate is bad. I don't know. I don't know why that is. I do have a message on my side. Let's see if why am I not getting enough? Let's put this back where that goes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be, for me, this is why I don't know if you've seen any of the other videos about this. This is why I keep calling it the big project. I don't have any other name for it because in my mind, this is just about the biggest piece of work I'll probably ever do in my lifetime. And I hope that, in the event of my demise, that maybe it gets put into a museum or something. That would be like the ultimate for me personally, would be to have something that I made in a museum. And I'm hoping to make it big enough that, you know, a curator or something would actually honestly think, yeah, you know what? We could do that. So that's my hope. I mean, but in the meantime, I want it for myself. I've been making a whole bunch of bracelets to have in my shop, and there's all that going on. And, you know, my shop's pretty well stocked or whatever. So for now, it's about making something for me. I'm like, oh, new comment. Oh, it's the wife. Yes. It's for you too, sweetheart. My demise might be from you though. Ah. Yeah. Is anybody else experiencing the video thing? I don't know why it's doing it. I have literally nothing else running except for the whole streaming stuff. Like, so it seriously should be perfect. And I don't know why it's not. It says, huh. Yeah, it says on my stuff that there's no frames being dropped. I don't know what a good kilobits per second is supposed to be. But my CPU is only like 55% and 24 frames per second. I don't know why. Okay, so when it comes to big works, even bags and that kind of stuff, I basically base it off of how many $10 bracelets is there. I'm not sure it's a fair pricing method for myself, but that's how I basically do it. I figure out how much string is going into this and how many $10 bracelets it would make, and then I still end up shaving money off of it. Nothing this intense is ever going to fetch me the amount of money that I think it should be worth. Um, I've got bags in my shop that are a prime example of that. There's the one that looks like Celtic knots is what? How much? I don't even know. It's I'm probably the last person you should ask like how much to charge for something. I really lowball myself. Um, I mean, that's good for you guys, right? You guys can buy stuff that took a month and spend, get less than a couple $100 or whatever, which no way to feed myself like that. Yes, canvas is a good word for this. Oh, what? Long work. Oh, this is so I did a when because I don't have access to my computer, I can't I think last week I did the video about the getting the string, so it's a little bit more than a week because I that video was shot on like a Tuesday, a little bit more than a week to get this far. Mind you, like I was saying before, ADHD hyper focus makes it so that way um, a whole lot gets accomplished in a short amount of time. But I don't do a whole lot of anything else at that during that period. I might put on some YouTube, maybe watch some PewDiePie or what, just let the player run and just go crazy with the knots. But even if I just Even if I just do one of these rows coming down diagonally a day, it's it's a pretty decent amount of progress. It's more than just a bracelet. So, okay, so YouTube stopped having an error thing, but then it looked like it froze. I don't know what happened. Hopefully it's back to working right because the message about streaming has stopped being a message. For a moment when it did something, I thought that I lost connection. I want to have this finished by Christmas. That's that's my biggest whatever. I want to have it done by Christmas. That's when we'll have um, our friends coming over here, and I'd like to be able to show it off as a completed work by then. That's the hope. I'm not 100% that I can. I have no idea, you know, but if I was to try to target a date, yeah, I want it by the holidays. Oh, you get it before I do. Feeling productive and what do I have? Oh, finish. Okay, so as far as working on other things in the meantime, yes, um, I was trying to finish up the. I don't know if you saw on my Instagram. It's blue, green, pink, and purple. I try to get that one finished up because I don't like leaving projects half finished, and um, I don't necessarily want all my videos between now and Christmas to be of this. I think I would lose a lot of my followers that way. So if people come up with questions or ideas of other things that they want me to do, then I will do those in videos and then, as a break, which of course pushes this further back, but at least I have better content. Um, Tony was asking about the how to add string onto this thing. So I probably will the next time I add string, I'll probably just make that a video so that could maybe be a thing for next week and just, make a point of just doing that. Um, but I don't know. Feeling productive and being productive are always good feelings. Yeah, it is. It is a good feeling. But again, so I've been kind of open. I never used to talk about being ADHD, and now I'm starting to kind of open up about it because I'm getting help for it. Um, so being productive is both really good and a curse because on days where I can be productive, I am like, yay! And I have, the brain gives me the dopamine and everybody's happy. But on a day where I can't find the time to get more done, I punish myself. Um, I am like the most self-abusive person. Um, so yeah, I mean, yes, productivity feels good, but don't judge your life on productivity because it's a huge um, letdown if you can't get things accomplished on a given day. I mean, I still have to do laundry for my father-in-law and my wife and myself. I still have, other things that I have to get done. And even though that's progress of some sort, it definitely makes it feel like I didn't do anything with this. And then I get down on myself. Yes, I try to work on one section at a time, especially with this because it's so complicated. If I don't kind of keep track of where I am coming across, I could easily mess this up. And oh man, if again, super critical on myself, if I got one of these squares wrong, it would be like a dead pixel on your TV screen. It would be the one thing you see all the time. So yeah, I'm really taking my time and making sure that each box is exactly the box that it's supposed to be, and trying to just trying to keep it look nice. And thank you for your questions. Because yeah, coming into this, I didn't kind of know what I was even going to be talking about. I knew I wanted to mention the sale. There's like 30% off over at akaawol.com. I knew that was something I wanted to talk about. Um, and Patreon. Patreon people kind of help keep this whole channel thing going. Um, I don't know if anybody realizes what it takes to become a YouTuber these days, but you have to have like something like 4,000 watched hours in a 1 year time. And last year I made it a point to like make lots and lots of videos and to try to make the best content I could. And despite everything, the amount of hours still has fallen short. And then this year, I don't know, maybe I just haven't been putting quite as much effort into it, but the hours are kind of falling off. And I'm even further away this year than I was last year at that goal. So kind of the only way that this is working out is because the Patreon people are helping to help, help buy the string, which keeps it going. Yes, you're 100% right. Taking care of yourself is being productive. And yes, I would do well to remember that on a daily. Really, that would. Tool of choice for undoing a knot. So I don't know if you guys remember. I have my can that I made, and then on my can I stuck a little magnet down inside of the tin, and I have this great big needle, which is kind of the needles they use for needlepoint. It's got a huge wide end to it, and it's got this little piece of string, so that way if I set it down on the desk I can find it easier. But it's supposed to be stuck on that magnet, which is on my desk. That end of that needle, let's see if you can you see this? This thing is so blunt that it won't tear as you're picking at the knot. So that's what makes this one so good. Um, if you had like a regular needle, like you're trying to sew stuff up with, the point is so pointy you'll break the fibers, and that's where you end up with having a broken string later on. If you have to take out a lot of knots, is you got to be careful. The thread is just a lot of little tiny fibers. They're all kind of twisted together and stuff, so you don't want to break them. I have a clipboard that was made out of an old cutting board. Well, not old. I bought it to be a clipboard, and I stuck those little super strong but tiny magnets into the board, like drilled out little holes, stuck them in there, bit of glue, and yeah, that way it keeps a needle nearby when I'm using my clipboard. In this case, though, like there's an easel under behind this red stuff here. This is a particle board that's wrapped with a adhesive felt, and mostly because I like the texture and I like the color, but I like the texture for this kind of work. Makes it a little bit easier. When you put the strings off to the side, they tend to stay there a little bit better. If it's smooth, you can't do that. So it's a self-adhesive felt. And I'd like to be able to say where I bought it, but to be honest, now I can't remember. I think it was at basically Singapore's equivalent of the dollar store, which is called Daiso. I think that's where it might have come from. Yeah. It's a Japanese thing, I guess, right? Okay. But still, it's a lot like American dollar store. A lot. Anyway. So definitely appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. This is fun. Oh, and I can't express how many. So there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm currently using 7 clips on this. As it gets bigger, I will use more. As the work gets further going that direction, then eventually it'll go off of the board and have to be kind of kept in one thing. So that'll have a clip for that. And then the amount of clips I need to actually hold it on the board will possibly increase. It's really super helpful, if you find yourself, get yourself like some good clips. Can you imagine? So I know there's like this huge debate. Some people just swear by using tape. If I tried to use tape on this project, the amount that of putting the tape on and taking it off and stuff, I would leave the fabric, the whole canvas of this would be so sticky and it would just attract more dirt. It would be terrible. So honestly, clips are reusable. It's a great way to hold things in place and keep strings off to the sides, and there's a lot of benefit from it. So oh, and for people who use the safety pins, sure, that's great for a bracelet. You can safety pin it to a pillow kind of thing, but you're never going to be able to make something this big that way. So if you want to practice how a way that'll make it so that way later on when you get ambitious, because I think this is eventually anybody who's doing bracelets long enough will finally say, you know what, I'll make something big because I can. It's just it just feels like an inevitability. You can only do 24 string bracelets for so long before you're like, I could do better. I could go bigger. I could make something else. Woo. Oh, my error message is up again. God damn it. Why? Why am I getting messages about bandwidth? So it says some of you guys might see it buffering. My side still says that the frame, my CPU is still running smooth. So weird. Mind you, it says that we've been going for over an hour now. That's pretty cool. Sweet. So let's do this. Cool. All right, that was fun. I was hoping that it would at least last for an hour. Last time I tried to do one of these live things, right around the hour mark, the computer started to give up. So at least I seem to have gotten past that. That's good. So any of you guys think that you would actually take on a big project like this? Or is it just fun to see somebody else do it? Crickets. Nobody's answering. Well, I'm almost done with this square here. If you have any more questions, go ahead and toss it out there. I'm gonna probably call this done for the day. I don't know what time it is for everybody else. It's 11:15 here. So, all right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out and watching this live video. And for any of you guys who are watching this after tonight, thank you for watching this far in. I appreciate it. Oh, wait. Oh, that's fantastic. That's, that's my biggest hope. I want to be the person who inspires people. Even if you don't do something, say this big, if I inspire you to try something, out of your comfort zone, then that's a win. So thank you for that. So I want to thank everybody who's watched this much into the video. This is over an hour, so I really appreciate that. And I will be back next week. Possibly, I think I'm going to have to do it in the form of a video because the fact that adding the string makes a lot of walking back and forth. I think I'll do the video on showing you how I get it started and be able to answer that question. And then perhaps we can do another live one in maybe 2 weeks. So if you like that idea, definitely leave some comments. I would appreciate it, kind of gauge what people want.